Ibn Arabi's mystical philosophy, characterized by intricate complexity and profound depth, is primarily centered around the notion of wujud. In essence, his philosophy is fundamentally ontological, even though it incorporates theological elements. While theological, it leans more towards ontology. In this video, we are going to discuss Ibn Arabi's term imagination in the macrocosmic level, which is in the position of the intermediate world. He calls it al-khayal al-munfasil, discontiguous imagination, since its existence is not dependent on the viewer. If you like what I do, please like and share my video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification so you will be notified when I upload a new video. You can also help me out monetarily, be it PayPal or Patreon. The immediate apprehension of the absolute being achieved through an extraordinary experience unfolds across infinite degrees, but whose general categories may be reduced to 5. These degrees or planes of being, maratib al-wujud, are categorized into 5 major realms known as the 5 levels of existence or the 5 planes of being. Ibn Arabi himself labels each of these planes as hadrah or presence. Each of these planes constitutes a distinct ontological dimension in which the absolute being or al-wujud al-mutlaq manifests himself. The initial among the 5 planes of being is the absolute mystery in its primal and original absoluteness. It is the state of al-haq before he commences his tajalli or self-manifestation, existing in a condition where even the faintest hint of the tajalli is absent. The subsequent 4 stages represent essential forms through which al-haq descends from his absolute nature and is manifest on levels that are more knowable and concrete to us. According to Ibn Arabi's worldview, everything, whether spiritual or material, hidden or visible, is the tajalli of al-haq, except al-haq in his original absoluteness, which serves as the origin of all manifestations. Ibn Arabi discerns 2 kinds of tajalli: the most holy emanation and the holy emanation. The former kind of tajalli, the most holy emanation, originates from the essence of God per se, which remains entirely unknowable, the absolute mystery. This is due to the fact that God is still akin to a hidden treasure. As a frequently quoted hadith Qudsi among Sufis suggests, I was a hidden treasure, I love to be known, hence I created the world so that I would be known. We have discussed in another video that the tajalli of al-haq is the act of the tajalli of ontological mercy. Let me summarize it. Within the bosom of the hidden treasure, which is the absolute unknowable, a subtle foreboding arises, suggesting the forthcoming self-disclosure of al-haq's mercy. Before the positive manifestation of al-haq's ontological mercy, it exists a state of non-existence, requiring a preceding mercy to grant it existence. However, no mercy precedes the divine mercy, leaving the option of the divine mercy acting upon itself. This self-mercy is the initial stage of the emergence of mercy. From an ontological perspective of the tajalli, this marks the first glimpse of existence. This foreboding or potential of existence within the hidden treasure signifies al-haq's self-consciousness as existence due to the most initial tajalli. It is the tajalli of al-haq regarding and to himself. Put simply, it is the very first of the rise of self-consciousness in the absolute hidden treasure. This implies that through the primary manifestation of his own mercy, it as the absolute hidden treasure turns into a thing. The mercy at this initial stage is the mercy of essence. To assert that al-haq attains thingness, implying an ontological status where he presents himself as a thing, indicates the commencement of a self-objectification process within al-haq himself. This marks al-Haq's self-consciousness and is akin to a faint light preceding the dawn of existence for the entire created realm. In this state, only al-Haq exists, yet the bestowal of existence, referred to theologically as creation, is already in motion. This entire progression in the realm of being is termed al-malakut, or the plane of ahadiyah, the second plane of being. Put simply, it is the unity of ahadiyah, that is, the real unity, in which there is not even a shadow of the many. As for the third plane of being, the second stage in the tajalli of al-Haq's mercy involves establishing the thingness of the divine names, or the permanent entities. At this point, the mercy, having transformed the absolute hidden treasure into a thing, extends to all divine names, bestowing existence upon them. The divine names gain thingness and become things themselves. From the perspective of tajalli, the second stage signifies the completion of the most holy emanation. Unlike the first stage, this stage brings us closer to the external world of sensory experience. However, even here, the tajalli remains internal, only within the unseen. Yet, this unseen is no longer an original state of complete indistinctness. These essential forms present within the darkness of the unseen are the divine names. As previously discussed, al-Haq manifests himself in these essences. This marks the ultimate form in which the divine consciousness emerges, the final stage of the most holy emanation. These essential forms that constitute the content of the divine consciousness are the initial determinations arising in the relationship of the essence with the created world. The thingness arising at this stage differs from the first stage. It is the essence of the permanent entities, different from the thingness of the initial stage. While this existence maintains the intrinsic unity characteristic of the first stage, they also encompass the potential divisibility of essences. The mercy operative at this stage is the mercy of divine names. This third plane is termed al-alamul jabarut or wahidiyah or oneness, which is potentially many or potential plurality. Here al-Haq reveals himself as Rabb or Lord, thus also being referred to as the plane of Asma wa Sifat. Given that the many within the plane of oneness exists as the content of al-Haq's consciousness, which theologians term as God's knowledge, from a philosophical standpoint, these are pure intelligibles rather than tangible, concrete entities. They represent entities that could be real and tangible if granted existence. In this context, the many in this realm is described as possible existence or existence in potential. At this stage, actual entities have not yet materialized. These intelligible realities are referred to as permanent entities by Ibn Arabi. The fourth plane of being is called al-khayal, the world of imagination, also known as al-mithal, or popularly known as al-malakut, the angelic realm. This plane of being signifies an intermediate world that bridges between those above it and the sensory world below it. As such, this plane is neither entirely spiritual nor purely material. It is also referred to as al-barzakh, capable of bridging a symbol to the reality beyond it. The fifth plane of being is named al-mulk wa shahada. This is the domain of the tangible or empirical world that can be perceived through the senses, the world we now live. This domain is none other than the dunya, the lowest of the low, in which the intensity of God's light gradually dims. In this point, the mercy causes the emergence of individual entities as concrete actualizations of the divine names. The ontological activity of the mercy is thus fulfilled, and the process of tajalli in turn reaches its ultimate stage. This is referred to by Ibn Arabi as the holy emanation, a term that bears a technical distinction from the earlier mentioned most holy emanation. As a result, the mercy, originating from the divine essence itself, extends its influence over all the possible things within the realm of phenomenal reality, encompassing the entirety of the world. It is crucial to emphasize that these 5 planes establish an organic system of correspondences. Therefore, anything existing within the second plane, for instance, not only signifies a phenomenon rooted in an aspect of the first plane, but also holds implications that reverberate through the other 3 planes, each in a manner distinctive to its own plane. Additionally, it is vital to bear in mind that the first 3 planes are distinctly spiritual and unseen, whereas the 5th is material and sensory. The 4th plane serves as an intermediary between the spiritual and the material, effectively marking a borderline between the 2 realms. Based on this hierarchy, Ibn Arabi summarizes the plane of being, maratib al-wujud, to be threefold: higher, lower, and intermediary. The 3 higher planes encompass the domain of the unseen, consisting of purely spiritual being and abstract meanings. Conversely, the lowest realm corresponds to the sensory world, alam shahada, characterized by physical and corporeal being, the senses, and tangible forms, essentially the world of the material. These 2 realms, i.e. the unseen and the sensory, are at once linked and separated by a 3rd realm that serves as an intermediary. This intermediary realm, termed the world of imagination, al-khayal by Ibn Arabi, combines the characteristics of its bordering domain. It is a realm where the spiritual aspect of the unseen fuses with the corporeal aspects of the sensory to give rise to the subtlety of imagination. At this ontological level, spirits become manifest within tangible domain, and abstract meanings materialize into bodily forms. The realm of imagination is akin to the world of dreams, where everything holds a sense of reality, yet remains physically untouchable and beyond reach, much like a phantom. Imaginal forms, akin to dreams, possess an apparitional or phantasmal quality. They take on meaningful forms that are perceivable but lack a physical presence. They are neither the purely concrete nor the purely abstract. They are both the purely concrete and the purely abstract. Similar to a reflected image in a mirror, they are visible yet intangible. They are visible but devoid of a material presence. Much like an illusory mirage, they exist yet remain unattainable. These are the defining characteristics of the Isthmian realm of imagination. The subtle nature of imaginary forms arises from its role as the barzakh or isthmus between the spiritual and the physical, the pure and the gross, the meaningful and the sensory. The world of imagination resolves this duality, where the abstract becomes materialized and the physical becomes spiritualized. Imagination becomes the realm in which meaning and form are wedded, giving birth to a new reality that simultaneously brings together and sets apart its original domains, analogous to the twilight zone that both unites and separates light and darkness. In this context, Ibn Arabi often employs the term mithal, image, as a synonym for khayal, imagination, which refers to the objective world out there. The root meaning of mithal is to imitate, to look like, to resemble, to appear in the likeness of. In the Quran, the term is used to talk about the appearance of Gabriel in front of Mary. Then we sent unto her our spirit, and it assumed for her the likeness of a perfect man. In Ibn Arabi's sense, Gabriel is only assumed for her the likeness of a perfect man. But Gabriel is neither like a perfect man nor not a perfect man. Ibn Arabi asserts that imagination essentially exists as an intermediary world, characterized by inherent ambiguity. In essence, its nature can be most accurately described as neither exclusively one thing nor another, or arguably as both this and that. As a result, it stands as a barzakh, the quintessential intermediary zone, encompassing the qualities of neither nor or both and. Quote, a barzakh is something that separates two other things while never going to one side, as for example the line that separates shadow from sunlight. God says He let forth the two seas meet together. Between them lies a barzakh that they do not overpass. In other words, the one sea doesn't mix with the other. Though sense perception might be incapable of separating the two things, the rational faculty judges that there is a barrier between them which separates them. The intelligible barrier is the barzakh. If it is perceived by the senses, it is one of the two things, not the barzakh. Not any two adjacent things are in need of a barzakh, which is neither the one nor the other, but which possesses the power of both. The barzakh is something that separates a known from an unknown, an existent from a non-existent, a negated from an affirmed, an intelligible from a non-intelligible. It is called barzakh as a technical term, and in itself it is intelligible, but it is only imagination. For when you perceive it and are intelligent, you will know that you have perceived an ontological thing upon which your eyes have fallen. But you will know for certain by proofs that there is nothing there in origin and root. So what is this thing for which you have affirmed an ontological thingness and from which you have negated that thingness in the state of your affirming it? Imagination is neither existent nor non-existent, neither known nor unknown, neither negated nor affirmed. For example, a person perceives his form in a mirror. He knows for certain that he has perceived his form in one respect, and he knows for certain that he has not perceived his form in another respect. He cannot deny that he has seen his form, and he knows that his form is not in the mirror, nor is it between himself and the mirror. Hence, he is neither a truth-teller nor a liar in his words. I saw my form, I did not see my form. Besides the Quranic verse Ibn Arabi quoted, he lets forth the two seas meet together. Between them lies a barzakh that they do not overpass. There is another Quranic verse alluding to this concept, and He it is who mixed the two seas, one sweet, satisfying, the other salty, bitter, and set between them a divide and a barrier they cannot cross. These verses delineate an imagery of two integral realms, symbolized by the two seas that are interconnected, yet concurrently separated by the intermediary zone known as al-barzakh. This barzakh holds a dual characteristic of unity and separation, uniting the two realms while preventing their fusion. Comparable to the demarcation between light and shadow, the barzakh establishes the boundaries of the neighboring realms, ensuring that each retains its distinct qualities without intertwining. It acts as a shared horizon, reflecting the realities of both adjacent worlds. Ibn Arabi underlines that despite facing two distinct realms, the barzakh is not a two-sided mediator. This means that the way it encounters one realm is the same as the way it encounters the other. To suggest otherwise would imply a barzakh within a barzakh, resulting a division of the barzakh into three domains, two separate facets and a mediator uniting them. This contradicts the inherent unity of the barzakh itself, which remains a singular entity. Furthermore, Ibn Arabi refers to dreams as the prevalent human encounter with the nature of imaginal realm. In dreams, we witness objects that are not truly such objects. For instance, I might tell a friend, "I just saw you in my dream." This assertion is neither entirely true nor completely false. What I perceived encompassed both my friend and not my friend. In essence, it was both this and that, or neither this nor that. Dreams indeed serve as a divine gift, providing a means to unveil the enigma of universal ambiguity and the unceasing transmutation of existence. Quotes, "The only reason God placed sleep in the animate world was so that everyone might witness the plane of imagination and know that there is another world similar to the sensory world. Through the speed of the transmutation of the imaginal form, he calls the attention of intelligent dreamers to the fact that in the sensory world of fixed engendered existence, there are transmutations at every instant, even though the eyes and the senses do not perceive them except in speech and movement. In other than these two kinds, people do not perceive the form of transmutations and changes except through insight, that is, unveiling, or through sound reflection upon some of these forms, since reflection falls short of perceiving them all. We know that a dream needs interpretation. Dream interpretation has been significant among Muslims and is acknowledged as a prophetic science within the Quran. In the Arabic language, interpretation is referred to as ta'bir, originating from the root ayn ba, denoting to cross over or to traverse. So, to know the meaning of our dream is to cross over its form. That is to say, to perceive the very world in which we live is to traverse it, to interpret its imaginal form. When the nature of the whole cosmos is truly verified, particularly on the cosmic level where the entirety of the cosmos can be seen as imagination, the perceiver recognizes it as a manifestation of imagination, akin to a dream needing interpretation. To underscore this point, Ibn Arabi refers to a well-known saying which he refers to as the prophets. People are asleep and when they die, they wake up. Quotes, "You were indeed heedless of this. Now we have removed from you your cover, so today your sight is piercing." In commenting upon this verse, Ibn Arabi in Futuhat writes, "The believer who is granted the unveiling of things as they are is granted the return from the many to the one. And this is before he leaves this world. Have a nice dream and don't forget to interpret it. See you."